There's people in here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey.
That's you.
That's me.
And now it's me.
That's us.
Oh, we're doing it.
We're on the internet.
We figured it
guys.
out.
We did it.
Hi, guys.
Figured out how to go to the internet.
It's,
hey, everybody.
It's Saturday, the 1st of December.
Yes.
Man.
Which technically means that
we're late.
we have
Sorry, guys.
we are in breach of contract.
Sorry, guys.
But if you sue us, there's nothing you can get out of it. So, pooey on you.
Sorry, guys.
That's
all right. It's just 2 in December.
Yeah.
You know, between Christmas and New Year's, we have to somehow get one in here.
That's right. Yeah, coming up. I don't know how we're going to make all this stuff work, but that's the holidays for you. So, everybody, glad to see you here. We see Tobias, Hope Tracy, Steven Ryan's here, Eva Bang's here. That's awesome. Team Pancake. So I know that...
Who's AL?
I don't know. Who's AL? Somebody. I don't know.
I don't know that I've seen AL.
We have to see so many different usernames for you guys sometimes. You got your Discord usernames, your Twitch usernames, now your YouTube handles. Like, I don't even know. Sometimes some of you keep it like consistent throughout so we can keep track of you guys, but some of you we don't know. Manfadil, all right.
Yeah, I've seen him in in the chat.
In the
talking
chat.
it up.
All right. That's awesome.
Let's see, yeah. Man, there's a lot of comments to go through.
Mandalil, sorry.
Mandalil,
yeah, okay. Gotcha. Sorry.
Finally, all our big questions will get answered, like, does Maisie sell authentic replica crag crabs?
She does not. So
also,
that's one big question answered.
Also, I want to say last night, Lucas called it.
What?
Spoiler alert. Not really, but kinda. Lucas called it before they took the tour.
Yeah.
He's like, I bet there's a roped off.
Oh.
Like he called it spot on.
Well, see, originally I actually thought that Abner and Kimbleton would go looking for... I didn't expect them to go to specific places to look for Lyra and Crag individually. I thought they would just be like, well, where's somewhere we would go to find these guys? Well, let's go to the Mouse and Moth, because Kimbleton would know that they're probably there. And then I was actually going to have them go on the tour and end up at Crag's house, but then they didn't do that. So I actually had the whole thing where they would go through the tour and like all that stuff, but they didn't do that. They just went straight for Lyra, and then I got to throw in some of that tour stuff later. So it still got in there.
You telling me the players didn't go where you intended?
They did not go where I intended them to go, but it all worked out. It was really great. I'll tell you one thing that definitely caught me and everybody by surprise was the absolute insistence that Lyra and Crag roll to see if she was pregnant, because that was...
I mean, it was only one roll though, Jim.
I know they both had to roll.
Yeah, but I feel like every time they should have had to roll.
Yeah, but I don't know how to incorporate another baby into the storyline.
He's a virile barbarian, and she's dead. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly what's happening there.
Yeah, I didn't really want that to occur. As funny as it would have been real hard for me to figure out how we were going to incorporate one of the main party members having a baby.
Let's see. We got a question from John Christian.
Ooh.
Is Marcus hiding in the bag of holding? He seemed very interested to know that Crag's hammer went in the bag.
Well, I cannot tell you... I won't reveal much about Marcus, because at least in terms of what exactly he's doing and where he's going, because that stuff... I want to reserve those rights to Adam so that he can kind of develop that story as he sees fit. I will tell you with 100% certainty that he is not in the bag of holding. He couldn't be in the bag of holding because it states in the description for the bag that I believe a creature only has 10 minutes worth of air when the bag closes. So if you go into the bag of holding, you get a temporary reprieve, but you can't live inside a bag of holding.
What if you had a straw?
I think they would notice it sticking out of the bag of holding for all of time.
I think Adam was concerned with where the hammer was.
Yeah, Adam
to inconvenience Crag.
He absolutely just wanted to inconvenience Crag. That was his point. Let's see.
Are Marcus shirts discounted on clearance right now in the store?
I will say this, too, as well. The only other thing that I'll reveal, again, I don't want to get specifically into Marcus's story because I don't want to ruin that for Adam in terms of letting him decide how things shake out. But Adam has not decided to leave the show. We have a lot going on. Characters come in and out all the time. You guys have seen this happen before. I know that Marcus, it's very easy to believe that he literally would just throw his hands up and leave forever and never be on. But Adam likes playing. He does like to be on the show. He enjoys the story. He enjoys Marcus. He did not just decide in a fit that he was going to leave forever. It's just characters come in and out sometimes. We have that happen a lot where, in fact, just so you guys know, upcoming, Lyra is going to be... She's pretty much out for the rest of the year. That's scheduling and the holidays coming up. So Lyra is not going to be in the next episode. Kimbleton's unfortunately not going to be in the next episode. It's just, that's how it goes sometimes. And but Adam's intention was not to just leave. He did not just flip the table and decide to pout in solitude forever. I promise you.
And if he did, he wouldn't pout like right next to
He wouldn't
Jim's
have pouted
table.
right next to him. Yes, no. It is part of a story. It was an intentional move to sort of incorporate his real world scheduling and also kind of generate more story. What happens to Marcus when he's off on it? What happens when Marcus actually does the thing that he's been threatening to do since the beginning? So that we can kind of move past it. Once we play this out, like, you'll get to see what would have happened, and we don't have to keep revisiting it. This idea of Marcus leaving, because I know that for a lot of people out there, I know that when Marcus does this stuff, some of you on Team Marcus are cool with it. Some of you not on Team Marcus don't like it when Marcus throws up his hands like that. So we'll finally get to move past it. That's part of the goal here. Let's see. We did have a question way up top. I'm gonna scroll back a little bit because I know Scott Denuza he was an early guy in here, and he had a question right up front. I really enjoy the guest characters as well. Maybe we can get a spin-off with some of them. That's something that we have certainly talked about. We can't make any promises for the new year. We do have a lot of plans in the works. We're trying to see what content we can throw out there. But, you know, I mean, the pervasive joke ever since, you know, this guy and Kimbleton have come in was the idea of having 2 beards and a bard.
Yeah,
and these are all really cool ideas, and we love to develop them if we can. So don't discount the possibility of having a spinoff. I thought that the B Team storyline was really successful, and it really helped sort of show other aspects of the world and get new faces on the couch while maintaining the integrity of the main storyline. So, you know, that being so successful gives us hope for bringing in some more stuff like that in the future, where we see what happens in other parts of the world when we are not just focused on the Crag crew and the main party.
Well, and I know, because we just went through DaT Weekends, a new show is a lot of bandwidth. It takes a lot of effort and energy to put it together.
It's not so easy to just turn on the camera and go live.
And with things that, like, especially spin-off shows, even if other GMs were running it, Jim would have to oversee that entire... Mm-hmm. He'd be the Kevin Feige of Dragons and things.
Yeah.
So
it's something we're definitely looking at, but it's a lot to just do. So we have to do it very carefully because we want it to be good. We don't want to just throw some stuff up there just nonsense.
Here.
Let's see. We've got, when are Quigley and Claret coming back from AL? They will be back. They're currently on tour. When we were talking about characters leaving for a while, Ben and Jamie are both on a Christmas show tour that they do every single year. It's a nationwide tour, so they cannot be here every week because they're just gone through the new year. They're having a lot of fun doing it. If you follow them on Twitter, you see they're posting videos and pictures of their journey across the United States, putting on their show. It's really cool. But yeah, they're just not going to be back until the start of the year. But when they come back, you'll see some Quigley and Claret action, I have no doubt.
What do we got? If season 3 is greenlit, would that impact weekly DaT episodes? The correct answer is no, is the statement. How do we feel about that, Jim?
I would love to say that if we were doing that, we could manage both. But the thing is, right now, the reality of it is that the show sustains itself right now. But it doesn't sustain all of us. We still have full-time jobs and other obligations, and we can't prioritize this in a way that would allow us to do this and season 3 unless we made enough money that one of the other of those was the person's full-time job. Like, if we were pulling in enough that Adam's full-time job could be just making Dragons and Things work and doing the production, then chances are we could continue on this kind of a schedule without interrupting even doing a season 3, because he would be sustaining himself through this, and then season 3 would kind of be like the side project that we worked on to get that going. But as it stands right now, there's no way. It would be like we would all then have 3 to 4 full-time jobs, and like it's just not sustainable. We couldn't make good content doing that. It just wouldn't be possible. So it kind of depends on how 2019 shakes out. If we start pulling in a ton of support and get some sponsors and all this stuff starts happening for us, then sure, yeah, we would love to maintain our current schedule and not have to take that break. But the reality of it is that as it stands now, if season 3 were greenlit tomorrow, it would interrupt what we're doing with Dragons and Things. But it would be because we're making other awesome content. So, it's not like you're really losing out there, I guess. Kind of cool. Wish I had a better answer for you.
It'd be great to make Dragons and Things the full-time job, but even just just to put numbers on it, we'd need to bring in $180,000 a year to make it full-time for Jim, Adam, and I.
Yeah, I mean, it's we need to grow by exponential amounts.
Now maybe we're 10%, 1% of the way there. I'm not good at math. I'm Diana. No, but like that's the goal. Obviously, that's the goal, and we're taking steps. Like that's why we tried the DaT weekends to see what sticks, what doesn't. And if you guys want DaT weekend information, be sure to tune in December 14th, where the heads are coming together. We're going to talk stuff out, and we'll have some more feedback. On our 14th is our last episode.
That is going to be our last episode for this year. Yes. Team Pancake. I don't know if that's just if it's Lucas or Lacey or both of you, but either way, with the WoW storyline over, are we technically in season 2? First of all, the WoW storyline is over. Yeah, it's over. Crag definitely won and totally defeated the evil, and there will be no continuing consequences from any of that. So spot on. But are we technically in season 2? Yeah, we were talking about this. We want to kind of move into, we want to start a new arc, get some fresh storylines going. But you should not consider what has happened up till now to be the last you'll see of some things. We want to introduce some new elements to the story. We want the story to evolve, so you can definitely call this like a new arc, a new season. But don't forget about all the things that have happened up till now.
Don't forget about WoW.
Yeah.
What do we got here? Maybe we can get fans on the couch as well sometime.
Maybe we can get fans on the couch as well sometime. Well, Tobias, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for us in that. It's very difficult. For example, you, Tobias, are in Europe, and I know you came out here to visit us one time, which was awesome and cool. And but it's really difficult to like put up a system by which people can come over and be on the couch because, frankly, we don't have the resources to provide much to help people who don't live in the LA area to get here. Like we can't be providing all exclusive, all expenses paid trips to LA to come on the show. So it kind of has to be up to you guys, and then there's the liability issue. Like it gets in this whole weird thing. Like we're at Crag's house, and like I don't know. It's there's a lot that goes into that a lot would have to be very carefully decided and put together to make a system like that work, where we could provide it as like a Patreon perk someday, where like a fan can come on the show. There's it's one of those things where there's a lot that goes into it.
There will be a lot that has to logistically go into it.
Yeah.
Like right now, the closest we can get to that is the Patreon monthly games.
Yeah, the Patreon monthly games is basically what we can do with that currently.
Things like Gen Con, when we're all at Gen Con.
And we're at an event. That's
like maybe we can do a live stream from Gen Con.
Yeah, or even just record like a game that we do at a convention with you guys. Or just playing the game with you guys, because that's always fun too.
As long as Quigley doesn't kill you with boulders.
As long as Quigley doesn't kill you with the boulders, that's correct. Let's see, what else do we got? Hope Tracy's saying 180K, that's barely a living here for 3 people.
I mean, it's barely living here, too.
It's barely living here, and what you have to remember, too, is, like, 180K isn't, like, Jared. That's not 180K for us. That's 180K. A huge chunk of that goes to the show, because we still have to pay the cast, we still have to buy food, like, all of the costs of the show are relevant in that, and then what's left over from that, we could pay so that we could do this full-time. Like, that would be, that's how that works.
Steve Ryan says, I know the DaT story is just off of the Wick story. Would you expect the stories to be tied in / if when season 3 happens?
That is something that always seems to come up, this idea of like, does Walking in Circles and Dragons and Things, like, where do those stories meet and collide? And I always have the same answer, which is those stories are never, ever, and they will intentionally never be dependent on one another. I will never have something happen in Walking in Circles or Dragons and Things that must coincide with the stories of the 2 things. They are going to be separate. Now, it doesn't mean that you won't see elements, like Angie being part of Dragons and Things, while Angie being part of Walking in Circles. Season 3 is, like, the character would exist, but I would never have, because I can't account for all of the things that might happen in the live Dragons and Things episode. Angie could get sucked into a portal to literally hell. She could die. Like, she could get transformed into a squirrel and lose her mind. Like, all these things could happen on the couch, and I can't make myself accountable to that in a pre-written walking in circles world, because that they might become incompatible. So they will always be parallel, but they will never touch. They will be parallel.
So any bugbears I create here will not show up in season 3.
They may not be bugbears in season 3.
Good to know.
Yes.
Good to know. Some guy says, "Look at the sweet, sweet new couch."
Yes, of course, the brand new couch.
There's blankets.
There's blankets on the couch
and pillows.
But the pillows aren't in our laps, so that's good.
Oh, you guys in the couch. Who knew that would be the biggest takeaway?
Yeah, right?
Great universe so far for the win.
Yeah, well, we've really enjoyed building it.
I like it. I like all the idiosyncrasies, and I like as we get guest characters in and new characters, it grows. Like, it becomes more like, now Craig has seen a bird person.
Yeah.
And apparently that was something he'd never seen before.
Well, it was actually kind of funny because originally I had not intended Abner to be from Trapsboro. But then Matt is just like, no, I totally have a house here and everything. I was like, well, it's canon now. That's a prime example of why the worlds have to stay parallel and can't quite meet, because I can't account for things that happen. I can't account for what our guest stars are going to say sometimes, which is great because that does grow the world in ways that I literally did not expect. I didn't write that. That was Matt. Matt put something into the world that I didn't. And that's awesome. That's why I love these games in the tabletop format, because the players can really throw me for a loop sometimes and tell me a story. And that's so super fun.
John Christian asks, how are our conversations with Netflix happening? Could Netflix version of Wick be? So Netflix is itself a very puzzle within a puzzle within a puzzle. I have films on Netflix, not that I've done, but I've been a part of. And to do that, it's like you can't just go to the same contact, and like their original programming is under... You got to factor in at least 3,000 shows get pitched to them a year, and they pick 14. So, like, there's so much going in there, and even to just get the previous content on Netflix would be a whole, because we'd have to remaster everything at 4K. We'd have to do QA reports, and all this costs money. Like, QC reports for film, it's a ridiculous process. You have to trick a computer to not see errors in your film first. Then it goes to a human eye. Then it goes back to the computer. So there's a long, drawn-out process. Would I love to have Netflix pay for season 3? Absolutely.
Sure. Awesome.
Absolutely.
If they're writing a check, by all means.
And I'm not going to say that'll never happen, because Amazon greenlit Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So what's Netflix fantasy follow-up going to be? Maybe it's Walking in Circles. I don't know. So we'll see.
Team Pancake coming in with another question. Any chance we could add smaller magical creatures as part of fan treasure chests?
Like gnomes?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, like little familiar type creatures. The only thing that I would say, the only reason that I don't typically like to throw in things that are living is because those are things that typically you have to account for in different ways, because a creature is going to not just sit around. I mean, like, what would most likely happen with a creature, honestly, to make the story kind of run, and to make the game, to streamline the game, is the creature would pop out of the chest, the people would talk about it for about 10 minutes, and then we would kind of just assume it's around and never actually deal with it, because if we did have to directly deal with it, anytime there was an area of effect damage, it's probably dead the first time they run into something that can breathe fire or, you know, blast them with some sort of area magic or anything. So it's either we hand wave its existence and just say, well, it's around, but it's immune to, it's sort of separate from the world. And then we're probably not going to address it very much. Or we make it like, no, it's there, that cat is there, and you better keep it alive or it's going to die in about 3 minutes. And it's probably going to be more trouble than it's worth to add an almost like a new mini character to the show through the fan treasure chests.
What if we wanted to give Lyra pets and kill them every episode?
Well, I mean, that would be funny for a little bit, but I think we've tortured Lyra enough lately. She has suffered a number of disturbing events in her life, so I think Lyra is probably not the best to pick on right now.
Hope Tracy says, look at what they do to the NPCs as you speak. Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
Right?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, Scott Denuzzo says he still hasn't submitted his treasure chest, and I know that there's multiple people out
there. Yeah,
there
there's a lot of people that haven't done it, which is
yeah.
it's like whatever. Stephen Ryan saying fan treasure chest 5,000 gold piece single ice item cast is at the point that it doesn't quite help enough. You guys are just not being imaginative. I guarantee you, there are tons of little offbeat magical items that have a very interesting use that you guys aren't looking at. I guarantee you that if you're sitting there going, well, 5,000 isn't very much, it's because what you want to do is give Quigley the +4 flaming sword of death and destruction so that when he swings, he automatically hits and deals 182 damage, and you gave him that. Yes, of course you can't afford that with 5,000 gold pieces, but take a look at some of the items that have popped out. Take a look at some of the items that Marcus has tried to use in the past, like the Abjurant Salt that was really cool. There are the feather tokens, which are really cool. Lots and lots of little things that you can put into the game that give the players something they can do rather than just something they can swing. Everybody wants to give. It's funny to me how many times you guys are like, oh, give Crag this armor that gives him +90 to his armor class, and it's like, guys, come on, dig in and find some of the other cooler magic items that are out there. You're gonna get way more bang for your buck than if it's just something they swing. I promise you.
Duchess of Dinos, hi everyone. Glad I didn't sleep through this. We're glad you didn't sleep through it either.
Yeah.
Why isn't Paizo using y'all for Twitch shows? Nice folks, but their production is low-key.
Is hokey.
Oh, hokey. It's like their colors, or their cameras aren't even color matched.
You guys...
John Christian's after my heart.
Yeah, I was going to say, every single time Jared turns on their stream, he just looks at me and shakes his head. Like, he loses his mind. Honestly, the issue with Paizo right now is that in order to be on their channel as like, to be involved with Paizo, there's a licensing deal that has to be signed. And we aren't, like, officially attached to them with a contract. That's the only way they can operate like that. They would, in terms of, like, our relationship with them, they would love to work with us more. You know, we have a very good relationship with the people at Paizo, but we have to sign papers in order to do any more official work with them, and that requires a lot of wheeling and dealing. You know, I mean, it's contracts and it's lawyers and I won't say that that's like a roadblock, but it means it's why we're not currently there. So don't discount it as this isn't a forever, you know, brick wall. It's just we have things to work out before we can start working with Paizo more closely.
Paizo playtest would be way better with the DaT Krew and Jim.
Well, again, it's actually when the playtest first started coming out, we were thinking about, like, well, are we going to do a show or we just do the playtest? And it was something that I couldn't run. I didn't have the room in my schedule to do another game. We weren't at that point ready to start a new show. And then by the time we were ready to do, like, the DaT weekends with Bedlam and Discord and the board game show, the playtest had already been around so much that content had been explored by other channels and other podcasts and other entities. And we were like, well, we kind of missed the boat on that one because it's a pre-written adventure. We don't want to do what everybody else is doing, so let's throw in Bedlam and Discord, right, which is a new story.
And I think the Paizo playtest is half over at this point. I think their plan was to run it for a year.
Yeah.
And then do the release. So August is when full release of PF2 is supposed to happen. I still don't know what changes. Like, if we switch, I don't know that DaT or Bedlam and Discord would go to PF2 immediately because there are some pretty drastic changes in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Laryl.
Laryl!
Yeah, if Bad comes back, I've got to get you back on the couch.
That was a lot of fun. I had a good time
playing. You're like the favorite. You're the crowd favorite.
Jim Jam, will you go through the first cycle of fan treasure chest before you incorporate the next one? No, I've been. If you submitted a fan treasure chest, we pulled it, and then you submitted another one, and some people have submitted their second one. You're sitting in the mug, you know. If you get pulled, you could theoretically get pulled twice in a row or 3 times. Like, that's fine, you know. It's randomly chosen. So if we have a current fan treasure chest from you, it is a possibility that it will come up when they find a fan treasure chest, which they haven't done in a while. We probably
I was just thinking about that.
Get them a fan treasure chest soon.
You think, Marcus
probably
is off hunting his own
due. Yeah, he's gonna find his own Marcus fan treasure chest.
Q5, Jim, when is your wife rejoining these chats? Her laugh is perfection.
Well, one of the sad facts is that she got sick on the episode she was actually supposed to be on. She was super disappointed she didn't get to play. And the first thing she asked me when I got home was, hey, when can I bring... Because she built this character and she was like super excited to come play her character. She's like, so can I like play on a different week? So coming up, I think... You guys are the only ones who know this, but I'm pretty sure that December 14th, our last episode of the year, we are going to see evil Mrs. Jim Jam on the couch with us, playing the character that she built for the episode that she unfortunately missed. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get her on the couch. I know she's going to be home from work. We have spots because our whole cast is just leaving. Gone. They're going to be gone. So we've got spots on the couch. So yeah, we're going to bring her in. Don't worry.
Does that mean I get to play Edwin Toscobble again?
I believe that we're gonna take a look and see what happens to old Edwin and
what class should
Tony.
I take next?
That's right, because they're gonna level up and he's gonna take a different class. He's gonna be one of everything. Stephen Ryan says she has to be a witch intimidating you like at Gen Con. She played an amazing witch, but no, she built a different character for this one. She had some very specific ideas of how she wanted to play her upcoming character, but
she's still
will be no less badass, because that was the #1 requirement for her character, is that it be a badass. So I promise you it's going to be interesting no matter what.
I've played, I think, 2 games with Dana now, and she goes hard.
She likes to play killers. She wants to kill things when she sits down. Duchess of Dinos, I tried making the double duck in sign on my phone. The double duck, that's going to be another fan favorite, I think. It keeps coming up, the double duck. That's going to be... I
love it. I love it. Have you... Where did I saw it? I saw it. It was about using technology. Have you ever considered using a video voice for out-of-state guests? I've played in games where everyone at the table except one person was there and they would Skype in, and it's never gone well because there's a delay.
Yeah.
So you factor that delay with our, I think we're on an 8-second delay.
Yeah.
For the show, and then it becomes weird. I'm not against it personally.
Yeah.
There are some tech hurdles we have to get over. I like the idea of maybe pre-recorded videos or something.
Yeah, it's possible,
like NPCs that we can...
Yeah. I did see, actually, on that note, I did see Critical Role did that at least once. I remember one of their players was out, and they had a laptop set up where he was, like, Skyped into it. So, I mean, it's theoretically possible, yeah, but, I mean, we have enough tech gremlins with things that in the cave. If we have somebody, like, in another state with their own tech gremlins, like, I don't know how we're gonna fix that.
And there's still no reason for these gremlins, Jim.
I know, they just
sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. Like today, no problems.
Team Pancake with another question. Who was called to fill the spot when evil Mrs. Jim Jam got sick? Nobody. We just played one. We were originally intended to have an extra spot on the couch, and then when she got sick last minute, she was like, hey, I can't play. So we just ran without her. Like, that's all. That was probably why it was so difficult for them to beat some of those encounters, was because they were down a player when I had originally built them for 5. So they really scraped by, but yeah. It would have been interesting to see it. Those encounters probably would have been a lot easier with a 5th player, especially since I know what character she plays. Like, it would have been a whole different game if she'd have been there.
Some guy says they do it for Ashley a lot on Critical Role.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Scott Denuser, Jim Jam, who does your hair? I do it.
Man, many facets and talents over
I don't have Orion to help me.
I'm glad that Craig repaired that relationship.
Yeah, I think it's important. It's heartwarming to know.
Now, I wonder if he's going to send them the Christmas card though, because we should make sure that happens.
Yeah.
Edwin's next class should be NPC Diplo. Another NPC class. I took the first one because it was something I've always wanted to do, but I don't know. I think I'll fall behind real quick if I keep taking those NPC classes. Oh,
man. Let's see. What else we got here? So when are we gonna see Vampire Jim Jam versus Benji? Well, I already have a character in Bedlam and Discord that is not a vampire.
Yet.
Well, you know, we've seen him in daylight, so we know that at least currently he is not a vampire. Brother Sabas is a living, breathing human. Actually, no, he's not a human. He's different entirely. But he's not a vampire. That's the important thing. Although I would think it would be disappointing for all of us if he never got to face a vampire of some kind. Benji has to fight a vampire someday.
I need everyone to bug Eric constantly and reinforce that he's become a vampire with his blood drinking and his summoning of vermin around him. He gets angry about becoming a vampire. I was like, Eric, you drank multiple pints of blood in this this process. So if you guys could do that, that'd be great. Wait, I missed part of that episode. What tis Brother Sebash?
He is a cleric of Desna, and he is the not the Oread. I forget what's the name of the water one, because I always want to say it's the Oread, but it's not. The Oread's the earth one.
Not Sliff.
No, Sylph is the air one.
Undine.
Undine, yes. So he is. If we had had to swim, I would have been able to do so quite well without any checks required because I have a swim speed. But
maybe that's where you were. Maybe you're under the raft.
Sure.
Chasing Laryl.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a ton of fun. You should definitely go back and I don't even know that if the Undine Heritage came out when I was with the crew, because they look pretty human. There's only like some really minor telltale differences. So I don't even think it came out on the stream.
I still can't believe that group got out of the tower. Like, you know what? Let's go back in that tower.
That was the weirdest thing to me. When like we climbed down the tower and get out, and then she's like, "All right, we're gonna go through the front door now." I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right, here we go."
That was an entire 4 episodes of no one going where I expected them to go.
Yeah.
What else we got in here? My biggest nerd moment. Friday night in San Francisco on an expense account and vendor party passes, but I'm Skyped into my home tables game on the East Coast. Nice.
Hey, it's a valuable way to spend your time.
What does it look like behind the couch?
I mean, there's not much. It's a very tight space.
There's a Christmas tree.
Yeah, there's boxes.
Crag crap.
Yeah.
Crab crap.
Yeah, not much. It's not very interesting back there. It's not like the old days.
It's kind of like storage now.
Yeah, it's not like the old days where somebody who got angry could just climb behind it and hide from the camera while they calm down. It's just it's a very tight space.
I have less than half of enough Coke right now. But here's the twist. I've had to pee since before we started, and the house is currently locked because Crag is out with his family. So I'm fighting urges to drink my soda and not pee my pants on stream.
Good times. Some guy, where are the Christmas lights? They're there, they're just not on. You guys are so picky about everything has to be just right for you guys. There you go, Christmas lights.
Just pissing the neighbors.
Yeah, we don't know them, and I don't know that we want to go into their homes.
I don't know. Crag might be. It's his.
He's been gone for a while. We don't know when he's coming back.
Crag family and Crag in-laws are here, I think, and they're spending some Crag time.
Yeah, Crag time. Crag family with the Crag in-laws playing Crag time with the Craglings.
Duchess Dino says pop, which is absolutely true.
Yeah, that's true. It is pop. Although, like, when I first got here, because I'm from Ohio, so I was originally like pop, but I never really, like, people get very angry about this, the soda and the pop dynamic. I don't really care. I say them both interchangeably now. I probably say soda now more often than pop, but I don't have that, like, visceral reaction to it that a lot of people get. It's like, it has to be one way.
Well, it's funny, because on the show, of the people here, we cover all the bases. Like, it's pop, some people call it soda, Jamie calls it Coke, all of it.
Now, that one is weird to me when you call all sodas
Coke. Can I get a Coke?
Like,
sure, what kind? Doesn't make sense.
It's like, that's weird to me, because Coke is a specific brand. Can you get me a Coke soda pop? I bet there are so many people who would be triggered by that, Steven. You're playing with fire.
I would like a carbonated beverage, please.
John Christian saying there's a difference between Coke little c and Coke big C. Yes.
Both can get you wired, though.
That's true. All right. What else you guys got for us?
Coke for Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Get out of here. First off, Pepsi, just why do they still make it, Jim? Why do they still make Pepsi?
That's another thing that I don't care about is the Coke-Pepsi dynamic. I could drink both. It doesn't matter.
No, you can't. It's gross. Though I did read somewhere that Pepsi was intended to be drank closer to room temperature.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like when it was created.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because it's a little bit. And I will say room temperature Pepsi to me tastes better than cold Pepsi.
Huh.
So...
Team Pancake in with another question. Would Jim Jam ever add a Christmas-themed episode? A family toy-making elderly dwarf whose store was robbed. I don't intend to do a Christmas-themed episode this year, just because there are some story elements that I want to get in, and I want to keep with some of the threads that we have going. But I can tell you that the Patron exclusive this month may just be along the lines of something you're talking about. We may have, and we actually have a special guest writer for it. It's not going to be from me. I will tell you guys. You guys are the first to know that if you are signed up to get the Patron exclusive game content that we put out every month, is actually going to be Ben Birch writing it this year. And he's already got an awesome storyline written. He just has to send it my way so I can make a few formatting tweaks, and then we'll be ready to post that up. I hope we can get it out before Christmas, because it may be themed along some lines that you guys will find exciting. So we'll see if that happens. But I don't intend to do a Christmas-themed episode. But I would, like, the questions are, the would you ever questions are always my favorite, because it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, I would do that. That sounds cool. But I don't have a plan to do it this year. Stephen Ryan asking, so are we going to get a creepy Wix showing up at different places on set? I don't know what you're talking about, Stephen. I don't know what a creepy Wix is, and I don't know why they would show up in different places on set.
I used to play bass for Creepy Wix.
Creepy Wix? Yeah. I just don't know what you're specifically referring to, Stephen, unfortunately.
Hope Tracy, you stop it with the Pepsi downing. Coke is too slippery. First, you gotta drink Mexican Coke, real sugar. Second, I don't know what Moxie is.
Moxie was a soda company. It in fact is the original. It's the origin of the term Moxie, like having
like
Moxie.
You have Moxie, all right.
Yeah. And they went out of business because what I heard was that the reason they completely disappeared was because they decided that they were so ubiquitous that they no longer needed to put forth marketing. They were too, like, people were saying Moxie, like they were saying it so much, they like, we don't need this part of our budget. And then when they stopped advertising, they died. So they were proof positive that no matter how big your brand is, you need a marketing budget.
All right, that's fair. Also, we should get a marketing budget.
Yes, we should have a marketing budget.
If the tale of Moxie has taught me anything.
Yes.
Wix is the goblin.
Oh, the stuffed goblin.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, yeah. The goblin?
He's moved because we changed things.
Maybe that's why he would pop up in creepy places. I don't know.
Where he is now.
We don't know. Now I'm creeped out because I don't know where the goblin is.
Wait, their goblin's name is Wix? Is in walking in circles?
I guess, yeah. That must have been one of the...
Paizo should be paying us.
Yes, I agree.
Tell Paizo, pay us.
Yeah, tell them to pay us.
When are you going to add a porta potty to the garage?
Well, the problem again with being in Craig's backyard is that adding a porta potty is not something that he and his wife agree with or want to do. They don't want a porta potty here, so probably never, unfortunately.
I don't know that we have room.
Yeah, I don't even know where we put it, honestly.
One of these days I'll give everyone a walkthrough of the cave.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We should do that.
Do that. Yeah. Behind the blue dragon and large D20. Oh, I see. So it's up. It's back in.
Oh, yeah. He was hidden behind the wall from us, basically. I was going to say something and I forgot. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Twitter, because you mentioned a Twitter poll by Social. Those of you who may or may not know, I am running like a weird little Twitter Pathfinder game on my Twitter. If you follow me, you'll find me at Evil Jim Jam. Basically, the community is voting on the actions that your character, Clerg Dandylad, will take. The half-orc swashbuckler is going to take as he moves through this adventure. It's just started not too long ago, so you're still in the early stages of it, and it's just one long Twitter thread that I'm going to run, basically until Clerg either succeeds in his quest or dies. He could die.
Did we decide what happens with the farmhouse in the rain?
Yeah, you guys, everybody decided to press on through the storm.
No, because diplomacy was winning for so long.
Yeah, everybody wanted to press on through the storm. So I actually rolled the fortitude save, and then I posted a picture of the die. And you guys succeeded, so don't worry. Even though you didn't go the diplomacy route, Clerg is still okay. He's succeeded.
I've got nothing of Clerg so far has been what I want.
I know. But yeah, you can play along with the community. Just follow me on Twitter, and you'll find that thread pinned to the top of my profile, and you can vote. Currently, they're voting. They met a blue woman who could fly, and they're voting on whether to chase her down. Right now, everybody wants to actually be cautious and make a perception check to look around.
Our fans.
Yeah, our fans want to like take a minute to take a look and take stock of the situation. So we'll see how that
go vote.
pans
Here
out.
we go.
Oh, yep.
Yep. Since nothing I picked. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. What does Cragwife think of your garage use?
She's cool. Like she's cool about it. It seems like she's not.
She hasn't kicked us out.
Yeah, we haven't gotten kicked out. Like she still supports the show and thinks it's cool. And yeah, so it's really a great. We take a lot of effort. We don't want to step on any toes here. We don't like when the question comes up of like, why don't you just add a porta potty? It's like, well, because we don't want to ask for too much here. We don't want to overstay our welcome. We don't want to get to a point where Cragwife doesn't like what we're doing back here. So we try to leave as small a footprint as possible. But
Tobias points out that the fans are not the crew. That's why the decisions.
Yes, that's true. I guess that makes a lot of sense.
When is Cragwife gonna play?
I don't know that she has any interest in playing Pathfinder. I have no idea. She would certainly be welcome on the couch, but I don't know that that's something that she has much interest in doing.
Kevin Alexander, he made it.
Scott Denuda is saying he's an orc swashbuckler. There is no patience there. Yeah, it's true. You would think he would be a very impatient character, but I don't know. We'll see how the people vote. He's your character.
All right, what questions you got? Bring it to us. We got what we could talk about. We talk about dragons and things.
Yeah.
The end of WoW. We can talk about DaT weekends. We can talk about. I'm trying to think things have happened since the last Q&A, which was all bad Q&A.
Yeah, you guys did the bad Q&A. Yeah,
there's like 2 months of dragons and things to be grilling Jim Jam on here.
Mm-hmm. And we only have a few more minutes because we got to get out of here right around 2 o'clock. We'll have to be gone from here. So if you have questions, get them in now. Did we talk about Marcus stepping away? We kind of did. I had mentioned right at the front of the stream, and I'll just for anybody who's joining us more recently, I will say that Adam has not written himself off the show. We want to get a chance to see what happens with Marcus when he steps away. So if you are on Team Marcus, do not worry. He has not just left forever and you'll just never see him again. And if you're not on Team Marcus, don't get so upset. He didn't ruin the storyline. He's not pouting. He's just taking his character in a different direction, and we'll see what happens with that. It should be interesting, and I'm excited. I'm actually excited to get into that storyline. So don't worry. It's going to be cool. It's going to be fun.
But if you are Team Marcus, at this point, why? There's so many other teams you could be on. Why still Team Marcus?
John Christian, percent guesstimate on attending Gen Con again and Dragon Con. I will tell you that we are all on board to go to Gen Con. We are, we very soon, in fact, the producers just had a meeting not too long ago. One of the topics of discussion was we need to start planning for Gen Con now so that we can get in there and do it right and have a lot of fun with you guys. Meeting you guys last year was so much fun. We hope that even more of you are going to be able to come out this year. So while it's not, we haven't officially, got the badges and made the plans, I can tell you with, we'll call it 85% certainty, that we are going to Gen Con, because we want to, and like we want to take the steps to go. Like that is a plan we have to do. So you should expect to see us there. We want to go even bigger if we can this year, because last year was so much fun.
They were so nice to us.
Oh yeah, they were so cool, so accommodating. It was really nice. In terms of other conventions, those are up in the air. Those probably have a much smaller percentage chance, just because traveling, Gen Con, we loved doing it, but it's a huge expense. And as we keep mentioning with expenses, like we don't have a lot of extra money to throw around. So we'll be able to do other conventions. That is really up in the air. We wanna make sure we can do Gen Con, and we can do Gen Con right, which means that other conventions may not get the attention and resources that we could put into it. Dragon Con is probably not gonna happen.
Isn't that right after Gen Con?
Yeah, it's right around the same time. In terms of more local to LA conventions, those are a much higher possibility, because travel expenses don't become such a huge concern. So things that are more on the West Coast, much higher chance. Gen Con is right up there, though. We just need to literally get the badges, get the travel arrangements set, and go to Gen Con. Like that's that is probably going to happen.
Was Lyra, Lucas asks, was Lyra always planning to possess the dragon?
I wanted that to happen. One of the things that I built from the start that I always wanted to get in there was that there were the 4 disciples of woe. They were prophesied. Crag, Marcus, Quigley, and Alex had like a clear part in that prophecy. And then there was Lyra. And she was always outside of that prophecy. And she was actually very concerned about that at first. And she was always, what is my part in all of this? And it kind of came together. And I know it didn't really get harped on in the show, but I'll tell you guys directly. Hopefully some of you guys have seen it, is that, she was the one. This wild card came in, possessed the dragon, which was not accounted for in the prophecies, destroys woe, and I liked the idea that like she was the outlier, and she was ultimately the one that laid the killing blow. Like I liked that. I that was the dynamic I wanted. So I wanted that to happen, and I'm glad it happened. But I didn't force that. I did, like, if Crag had possessed the dragon, Crag would have possessed the dragon, and that would have actually been really cool, because you would have gotten to see, what I mentioned was you get all of your sort of powers and abilities as the dragon, but you use the dragon's physical stats. So you would have seen like a raging barbarian dragon, which would have been a totally different dynamic, but really cool. It still would have been a lot of fun to play with. But no, I liked that it was Lyra. I was hoping for Lyra. I made it easier for Lyra because, again, it was based on charisma, the ability to take over Woe's mind, and she has one of the highest charismas in the group. So I certainly set it up that was going to be statistically likely, but I don't force it. I would have allowed anybody, if they had rolled the checks and beaten the dragon, they would have been the one in that body. So yeah. If Crag was taken over, what would his strength score have been in the form of Michael Jordan's?
Exclamation point MJ.
Just one Michael Jordan. Dragons is actually interesting. We were taking a look at it when we looked at the dragon stats, and Crag's strength, because he has all the items that boost his strength, is actually comparable to a fully grown adult dragon. Like, that's how strong Crag has made himself at this point, especially when he rages. So it actually wouldn't have done very much for his strength score.
And he can already fly, so...
Yeah, and he can already fly.
So it was like having 2 dragons, really.
Yeah. When Pathfinder goes 2.0, will DaT story follow along, or will it stay on the current play design? Switching systems would be pretty intense. Not only would I have to learn the new system well enough to run it. The players would have to learn it well enough. Like, we have enough struggle with Pathfinder 1.0 rules that if I flipped the table and said, we're playing a whole new system, it would be weeks of us going, well, does that work that way? What's happening? Let's look it up. Like, this show would slow to an absolute crawl. So, no, we're not going to switch systems in the middle of a campaign arc. It's just, it would be too much. We're going to stick with Pathfinder 1.0. We certainly support Pathfinder 2.0. The Endeavor looks awesome. Maybe when it gets released, we'll have a new show.
Yeah, that'd probably be the more likely
Pathfinder 2.0, but we don't intend to switch the current running show to a new system. That would be crazy, catastrophic. Plus, so many like storyline elements have been tied into the mechanics. Like Craig's build is tied into the storyline and the mechanics of his character, and Pathfinder 2.0 would change that so much that his like the core of Crag would change in a lot of ways, and it'd be like he's not the same anymore. So how are we continuing with the same story with him? Like it'd just be too weird. So yeah, we're not going to do that, unfortunately.
Was the orb homebrew, or did that exist in the?
That was a homebrewed based on the Orb of Dragonkind. The artifact that it was based on is the Orb of Dragonkind, but it was a very specific Orb of Dragonkind. Instead of being tied to a type of dragon, it was tied to one dragon. So the orb itself had no magical powers without Daralaxatran, which is something that we hit on last night at the beginning of the episode. But it was based around the Orb of Dragonkind. And of course, there's some homebrew elements, because even with the Orb of Dragonkind, you dominate the dragon, but you don't become the dragon. I wanted to add that aspect to add a new mechanical thing that like I thought it would be kind of cool to play a dragon. As a player, like, you get to do something that you normally don't get to do in the game. You get to play a freaking dragon for a little bit. So that's what it certainly has a basis in an artifact that is canon to Pathfinder, but it is homebrewed to fit this storyline specifically. Stephen Ryan says, but Lyra already tries to do 3 actions, so yeah, that's true. She would be much more comfortable with the 3-action economy.
The action economy.
She always wants to do that anyway.
What is the mascot of Anderley High, Jim?
I guess I haven't thought. There are sometimes things that come up that I did not build that part of the world yet, so I guess we'll have to take a look at that at another time. I don't know.
Oh man, yeah, that was the worst when they ask questions like, well, what's your son's nephew's daughter's name?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I didn't know you would care. But the problem with that is that if you take the time to like build layers of it, they're just like, we don't even care. Like, right, who? Cool, like, why? Blow past it. Kill this person and move on. We don't care.
No, you will sit there and I will tell you these things. The Anderley albatrosses.
The Anderley albatrosses. I like that. Ricardo? Is that just Ricardo? Is that our?
That's Ricardo Montalban. They're talking about the carriageer.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. The carriage. Ricardo Montalban.
I mean, that's what I do. I don't know if you clued in on Bedlam and Discord, but I'm all about the ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Like that's even in games that I played an innkeeper last week. I'm all about the ridiculous. And that's another thing. Like, I have this rich backstory. We didn't get into him.
No.
Like, yeah. You guys have no idea about his kid. You know about one kid that's in trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll get there.
But we do know about the Double Duck Inn.
Know about Double Duck Inn.
That's the important takeaway.
It's getting about that time.
Yeah, it's getting about that time. We got to get out of here. Leave the Crag property to the Craglings.
And go to my house and pee.
Yes, and also to pee. This dude, he's
I
stuck it out for you.
I may hit that McDonald's on the way home.
You'll be able to fill up on your Diet Coke then.
Well, this is 7-Eleven.
Every
7th cup is free with their app. So,
yes.
I want to know if Anderley and Embry are in high school sports. That's a good question.
Yeah, we haven't gotten into a lot of the sports dynamics between the 3 major cities in the area, so...
I mean, I feel like we should, though. We should definitely... Because there's mechanics, I think at Blood Bowl, is that we could do like a high school homecoming game.
That's true.
Campaign.
That's very true.
Maybe we do it for the patrons.
Such as Dino says, I can't wait to play a Patreon game with Jim Jam. Yeah, I always love running those. We've had a ton of fun every time we run one. I've actually got one. Group 1 is coming up in December, so we're actually in the scheduling phase of that. We're going to get in there. Always love doing that. How many realm championships has each one? You know what? I'll go home and I'll spend the next 8 hours making a bracket of their history. The championships will have to have mascots and banners for each city. Like, well, I'll make that. That'll be where I devote all of my time. For the
was Sir Jonathan the starting quarterback?
No, he was actually he was a referee because he's very concerned about the rules and regulations. So.
I'm just imagining him in the huddle calling plays. So many delay. DaT Sports.
DaT Sports Fantasy League. John Christian, go do all the work, Jim, so nobody will ask any questions about it ever again.
Oh, someone will ask.
Yeah, I'll have to pull that out at some point.
Or we just give it to Blair, and Blair will put it in the wiki.
That's true. We'll let that story, and he'll be the one to make that work for us. He's actually been messaging me a lot about the wiki because he's gotten into things and he's like asking me these specific questions from like way back at the start of Dragons and stuff about like spellings and specific things that I don't even remember. So I have to like go back in my notes and like try to find where all this stuff was. But he's actually telling me that he's getting close. So we might actually have the complete wiki going up soon. And I can tell you what, from what it sounds like, it's going to be a monumental resource because like the amount of work and detail that he is putting into this stuff, like it's insane.
Well, and once it's up, he or everyone could
other people will be able to
so
contribute to it. So like you guys will be able to go in there and contribute bits and facts. Some guy, is it Gwyn 6 or Gwyn 6 or Gwyn 6? It's 1 N and 2 X's, I believe. I'm pretty 99% certain, off the top of my head, 1 N, 2 X's. Hope Tracy waxing Gibbous Moon last night. That's right. I know that's going to be absolutely it's canon, and we're going to track the phases of the moon.
Because you got to track your tides. Nature reacts to that.
Hope Tracy, I think Jim Jam just likes waxing Gibbous. Maybe Galarian is just stuck there.
Maybe there's 2 moons. So
maybe you guys just keep asking every time it's the waxing Gibbous Moon, all right?
Just one really long month. That's all it is.
That's all. We don't know how long their years are, how their seasons go, how many months they have, what are the names of the month. Like, this is all work I got to start putting into this to world building here.
Stream UI thing. Actually, that's probably not a hard thing to do.
That's true.
It's just an image that updates in the corner.
We need the love meters, and we need now the faces of the moon UI. We need like all these things that we got to start incorporating into the game. John Christian, hey, move to Starfinder, and there is no Galarian. Bam.
Whoa.
Well, technically, with DaT, we are not in Galarian. We're not using official Paizo licensed material for dragons and things. So it's not Galarian. So there's that. Team Pancake, the Sir Jonathan the Bold section of the Wiki is going to be so long. Yes, there's probably mountains and mountains of data to sift through for Jonathan the Bold.
I feel like if we call it the Wiki, then we're running into some Transformers crossover.
That's true.
I don't think we could call it the Wiki.
Did I miss any information on Bad returning? No, we have not made any official announcements for the 2019 lineup. All we can tell you right now is that we will be making public announcements about the return pretty soon here, so stay tuned through the next 2 episodes. Stay tuned to our social media. We will be making some announcements on our plans for 2019 soon here.
Definitely before 2019.
Yes. Before 2019, you will know what our plans for 2019 are going to be.
Yeah, well, that's the hard out time that we have.
We got to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this awesome Q&A. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for continuing to support us through Patreon. Again, you know that you're keeping the show alive. So your support and you guys being here and being with us every single week, like that's why we are able to keep doing this. So thank you guys so much. Hopefully we will see you for the next 2 weeks before our sort of season end for 2018, and then we'll be taking 2 weeks off for the holidays. So we'll see you around. Thanks for joining us, and we're out.
Bye.
Bye.
Now I'm going to keep waving. Or you have to keep waving because I have to go over there.
Okay, I'll just keep waving until the screen goes blank. Bye. Bye.